What is up, Honey Badger Nation? This is John Kitchens, and welcome to episode 133 of Export Mentors Live. I am very excited for today's episode as we have the one and only, the neighborhood mayor, and my very good friend, Mr. Andrew Gaydosh, on with us. And we're going to talk about being the neighborhood mayor in a COVID world. Gaydosh, say hello to the Honey Badger Nation.
What's up, Johnny? And how's everybody doing out there in Honey Badger Nation? I know it's been around here in the Midwest, it's colder than you know what, but man, we're surviving. The market's hot, and we're excited.
Yeah, man. I was joking with Kinder yesterday. I said, "Good thing you're not down in Texas." I said, we've got like a high of 30. Wind chill this morning was in the 20s, and that for us Texans, that's not good.
It's crazy, man. I see his his story every day, and then I was down there a couple of weeks with him, and it's a different world. I know we all want to get there. It sounds pretty cool until you get there, and then when you're actually there, you're like, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah. Cannot wait. I know we get to see you and celebrate a couple of our good friends in a few weeks in St. Thomas. So definitely looking forward to that beach time.
Yeah, that's going to be a great time. Good crew, and we're looking forward to that.
All of you guys listening in, we had Gaydosh on with us back on episode 32. And if you guys haven't checked out that episode, that was one of the best episodes from that year. And it was on the hyperlocal real estate marketing fundamentals. And it was actually, that was right after our Key West Mastermind, where you presented to the mastermind. And then we actually just recreated your presentation for this audience on this show. And it's fantastic. And, I don't know anybody out there that has accomplished what you've accomplished in market dominance, not in just one location, but being able to take it and duplicate it into another location, moving from, the lake area into, your community, golf course community, Yankee Trace, and then, helping your team set up the same. Give for those that, have not had a chance to go through and watch that episode, just, kind of a quick backstory of how that all came to be and what you learned, and then how you were able to duplicate it.
Yeah, no, that's good. And it was fun. Key West was kind of a cool time for all of us. We were just kind of getting our feet wet with EXP, and everything was moving at light speed. But it was also good to kind of look back at the fundamentals. We get really excited about what we're doing with the growth of our company, our EXP and everything else going on. But, when it really comes down to it, we're still selling houses every day. At least some of us are. And when we are, we have to get back to the basics and the fundamentals. And with technology changing, there's always going to be another shiny object. And I tell, because we do a lot of coaching and teaching, and I tell people all the time, that's a critical part of your business. You need to have at least 1/3 of everything you're doing. It's a great idea to have, all the internet leads and everything you can do from the latest and greatest technology piece. But, the other third has to come from your sphere of influence. And then the final third needs to come from some type of way that you could put your foot on the pedal and generate leads. And, some people find that it's good to, join, like I've got one of my agents that's really big into several different organizations that he volunteers his time, and, he gives, and then they, obviously give him back in return by thinking of him with real estate. So he can go to the mine per se and mine those leads and get business from that section of his business that he identifies as the 1/3 of his own. And that's really where we've taken the neighborhood mayor program and said, okay, this is our 1/3 of the business. We're going to go out and use hyper local marketing, niche marketing, and it doesn't have to be just geographic. A lot of our agents on our team, they've gone out and they've done it with church groups and other opportunities where groups of people have common interests. But with us, it happens to be neighborhoods and the geography of it. And I think to get to the original question you asked, like, how did it come about? And I know before we kind of told the long story, so I'll give you the short version was, I'm a pretty social guy. And when I first moved to a community, I was waiting on my wife to graduate from school. We were young. I moved to a lake community, had a boat that barely made it to the middle of the lake. And I was able to meet some folks on the lake that night. I invited them back to my house, nothing to do with the real estate. We threw a big party, and it kind of dawned on me the next day, wow, I was able to meet, a high number of people in the community that I would have never had the opportunity to meet, or if I did, it would have taken organically a long time to come across these people. And I was able to meet them all. And hindsight looking back, all those little deposits we made in their lives by, offering them free sandwich, come over a cookout, or, here's, we'll sponsor one of the evening summer concert series, all those little things that you give, and you're not doing it because you want something in return. You're doing it because you want to bring the community together. And in the long run, what happens is you become the local celebrity. You become the person that they go to when they need something. And it's nice to be that provider, because it creates that bond that you have, that when they think of real estate, they know you're an expert, they're going to call you.
I love that. And a couple of things you said in there is, you've got somebody that is aligned with your church organization. Is it key to find that niche to really who you are at your core, where you're the most comfortable, to where I guess you're the most authentic?
Perfect. You said it very well. Authentic. And in fact, I was talking to one of our new agents. He's a young gun he's actually still at Ohio State, and he approached me because the opportunity with EXP, and he was thinking, hey, when I graduate, I want to get into real estate. I said, well, what's stopping you? What are you doing this summer? Let's get after it now. Why wait? He joined in, and we were having a great conversation. And to your point, that it doesn't have to be just that, and you have to align it with what your interests are. It doesn't have, you don't want it to be like you're going to work. Oh man, I got to go do this again. I got to put my shoes on, and I got to go to the church meeting, and I'm not even a Christian, right? It's like, no, that's not it. You have to align with what your interests are, what your beliefs are. And when that happens, magic things happen when they know you're authentic, and it's not like you're going to work every day. This should be the fun part of your business. And it doesn't mean you have to do all the little things that are a pain in the, what to organize. You can have people help you with those. These are the items that you don't change the outcome of. Like, did you order the photographer for the event? Did you have, enough food? Did you, whatever the deal is, those things you can pawn off, but you've got to be the one there shaking hands, kissing babies, if you're going to do a social neighborhood mayor type of campaign. If you're going to be in the level of, like, for example, Jason, who Jason White's an awesome agent. He's on our team. He really has done well with the volunteering with Big Brothers and, all the mentorship programs. Well, his heavy weight there is not putting on the events. His heavy weight there is just volunteering and helping those people when they need something. And in return, he then has that mind share when they need something.
I love that. And I've shared that mastermind a few times. The best definition of trust is, the authenticity times time. And just kind of listening to you kind of explain that, even with Jason, and, he's being authentic, he's building trust, which is critical in any relationship dynamic. And when that's there, then, that just, you own that mind share, which is exactly amazing. Give everybody kind of listening in some, just so they can kind of get their head around it. Statistically, kind of market share, obviously at Lock and Grin, and then it's going to, last time I heard, It was still growing at Yankee Trace. So would you mind sharing some statistics so people can just kind of get their heads around it?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So in Lock and Grin, which is our original community, we're still hovering right around that 70% market share in terms of all the homes that are on in that community. And there's about 1,500 rooftops. It was a little bit difficult last year because, as you know, everybody and their uncle got into real estate. So, when it's easier to sell a home, it's harder for you as the expert to be top of mind. And so we kind of fought for that as much as we could, but I think we maintained pretty good at the end. But at the end of the day, what happens is you have to get across, it's just a side note, you have to get across in your marketing that anybody can sell a house right now. It's who can sell it for the most amount of money, and, call the expert because they're the ones that can do it. So just a little side note, and that's helped us maintain that market share. But we're at about 70% market share there. On the water, about 99%. There's a couple homes that sold, but this has been a 20-year deal, and we've maintained that for that long. Flash forwarding and then trying to replicate. I know you were coaching me and still are, but you were coaching me through that whole transition where we said, hey, we have something here. This is our original community where we were kind of the neighborhood mayor. was organic, and then we kept building and putting additional pieces to the puzzle, being very intentional as we moved forward as to what we could do, what we could scale. And then there we went into the new market 45 minutes away. And, a lot of those things didn't work. You were very instrumental in helping me understand that we couldn't just go in and blast it with marketing, with print media. We were in the homes, the neighborhood homes book, the back page, the front page, the statistical, where we were given the number of solds, what happened. So we owned the data mind share in the neighborhood. We had all the Facebook community groups. We owned the website. We had the postcards were going out, but the missing piece was I wasn't as involved because my bandwidth was was used up, right? I was doing too many things in the old community, had some other stuff going on with the kids were busy. I mean, there was sports and all the stuff that they were doing. So I had to really focus on delegating a lot of those items and just being present where I was needed and how I could move the ball and how I could be there for the relationship. And when that happened, we started integrating that missing piece that we weren't really doing a great job of, and that's the events. Because if you remember, the event is one major piece of it. It provides the content and the reason why somebody would want to come and join you and get to know you. You have the audience, which are the people, and you have the media, which is the outlet that you're going to get and touch those people. That media outlet could be your private Facebook group. It could be, geofencing. It could be your marketing campaign with your CRM for your going to the postcards or door hangers or whatever. The way that you communicate, obviously is important with the media. The audience are the people, and then you have to have the events. So all three of them work in unison, and you can't really do one without the other. Even though we tried to kind of superficially do it without the events, and it doesn't work. So now you got to start thinking smarter. And what are these events that scale to everybody? And what are the ones that are easy that you can pop in and out? And which ones can you use for the young kids and the older folks and everybody else? So it's pretty exciting scientifically kind of looking at it and breaking it down, but it does work.
Yeah. You guys had, what's the market share in Yankee Trace?
So we're about at 20% now. We're slowly growing. Yep.
Yeah, that's amazing. Because I remember when we first kicked it off, we were 5, 6, 7%. So staying consistent with it over the last couple of years. And just little side note, Gaydosh probably won't share this. There's a heavy marketing agent in the same community, right? That lives in the same Dayton community that is celebrity endorsement type play. And so being able to come in there on top of them and gain that much market share is awesome.
Yeah. It's been exciting. And me, you kind of sometimes you do it for the competitiveness of you, and you get up every day and like, how are we going to do this? But it's been awesome, and we're excited to kind of see that thing through. And there's been some challenges lately with COVID, and I can tell you it's pretty cool to see how the events and the ability for the neighborhood mayor campaign for 1 year that we kind of took the foot off the gas because we had to. Even though we promoted some of the events and had to cancel them, just that 1 year, man, there's been a little bit of a disconnection between me and a lot of the people that I would ordinarily have interactions with on a large scale. And I feel like I'm kind of on the outside looking in a little bit. So I'm excited that things are going to open back up, because I can see how, man, it's like being on TV and the radio. They're great. You have top of mind share, but the minute you're not on there for 6 months or a year, people forget about you pretty quick.
Yeah, that's and definitely what I wanted to kind of dive in with you on today for everybody listening in. And I think there's two segments that we want to talk about. Those of you that have that niche already kind of established, and then those of you thinking about starting that niche. But for you guys, heavily built around events, built around what you do best, right? Like you said, shaking hands, kissing babies, and being present. So what were the biggest, what did you guys have to do? Obviously being shut down. And then what's the game plan moving into 21 as it pertains to those getting those events back going again?
Yeah. So we basically really are now relying, our neighborhood Facebook groups are probably the most efficient and important thing that anybody can do when they're looking at dominating a neighborhood. And, so we doubled down on that media, where we can stream live, we can just be more frequent. For example, our January event was the boat show. So, in the Lockengrin community, we would set up a booth at one of the region's largest boat shows in Cincinnati. We would take that event as the content. We would then purpose all of our media for the invites via postcards, all the conversations with the different people that were going to be attending the boat show. As far as the manufacturers, I would get them on the calls. We'd do Facebook Lives on the private Facebook groups, really trying to build the hype for, hey man, this is going to be a good year. So again, but the whole point for me being there is that I'm promoting the community to people that are looking at buying boats. So if they're looking at buying boats, they would therefore maybe be interested in a lake home. So the whole conversation is, hey guys, I'm promoting your community. I'm one of you. We're out here hustling, and this is what we're going to do. And that's how it's always been. Now COVID comes along and the boat show gets canceled. So I called a couple of the boat dealerships that we do a lot of business with, and I was like, hey, we need to do some type of virtual boat show, or wow, let's do something in-house. Yeah. And so they actually took it and ran, and then 5 of them got together, and this is just brainstorming, thinking outside the box. 5 of them got together and did their own in-house boat show, and then we helped them with the promotion, and we then went down, did a Facebook Live there, walked around, kind of basically showed some of the boats, on Facebook to everybody, got everybody excited. And again, hey, I'm down here, I'm Andrew Gaydosh promoting Lake Lockengrin. If you guys can come down, check out the new inventory. Well, the whole thing was totally really different than what it should have been. It probably wasn't that effective for me to meet a lot of people, in terms of I didn't really meet a lot of people because I was bouncing from a few dealerships, but the marketing of it, I didn't miss a beat. And that's where I think people get so bent out of shape about the event itself not being successful, or maybe you don't think you can get a big crowd. Man, that's the tip of the iceberg. The money's made in what's under the water, and that's all the promotion, that's all the relationships that you can add to your sphere, and all the follow-up. So that's a perfect example of how things change with a boat show. We're doing our Blues Fest, which is our February event, where the Blues Fest is typically, oh, by the way, on the boat show, what we did there was when we added the new neighborhood, which was a golf community, they happened to have a golf show going on at the same time. So we replicated all of our marketing and essentially kind of tag team with that on a smaller scale. But again, afterwards, we normally would have a big VIP event. So we invited all the people that came down for the golf show, all the people to the boat show, come down and hang out. We'll buy you a couple beers at the local, bar across the street. So we kind of, every event has 4 or 5 different layers to it. You have the general invites to your general sphere of influence. You have your special invitations to your VIP, silver, bronze, and gold. In each level, you get a little bit more out of it, and then that can replicate and scale to other demographics. Like, for example, if you are, for our boat show, for example, yeah, we promote that to 2 of the 2 top neighborhoods that we worked in, the golf and boat show, but yet to our sphere of influence, our VIP golds, everybody got an invite. Hey, come down to Cincinnati, hang out with us. We'll buy you tickets to the show. These people probably don't even have an interest in buying a boat, nor would they ever take us up on that offer, but they feel included, and it's another touch that you can have because it's the content that you can then deliver to them.
No, that's fantastic. I love going, keeping the kind of creating your own event in a virtual capacity, still feeding that information, still, like you said, the same marketing, staying top of mind, awareness, engagement, follow up, as part of kind of that, still keeping that same rhythm, that same strategy. And I know we were chatting right last year. It was your buddies. It was St. Patrick's Day big event that was getting ready to go down right when everything got shut down. I remember we were talking that, fingers crossed, hopefully we can get it in before they shut it down. So making those adjustments over the last year from those big events.
Yeah, in fact, we're meeting today with Steve Tieber, and it's one of the top 8 parties in the country as far as Dayton, Ohio is for St. Patty's Day. And we're going to meet today and have a couple Jamesons and try to figure out our strategy this year. But yeah, it's legit. I mean, next weekend we have our Blues Fest. I wanted to touch on this. This is another thing that you can do. Normally we would have it at the individual in the communities, like at Lockengrin, we'd have it at the lodge, bring in a band from New Orleans. It was a big deal. In Yankee, we would bring in, have it at the clubhouse. and have more of a DJ set up. We had some live music last year, but this year we can't do it in those facilities. They won't allow us. The governor shut it down.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, so this year we're doing it at restaurants that have huge capacities. So there's got to be a place in your area that if you're having an event, like for example, we're doing it on in a brewery that has a huge capacity, and whether they have 25% capacity or whatever they have, we will still be able to have our event there and still meet capacity. We're paying for the live entertainment to come in. It's going to be a good time. And you just think outside the box, like, okay, there's really no problem you can't solve. That's been resonating with me this year. I don't know if you heard, my buddy Larry Connor, that the Connor Group, did you see him on Good Morning America? He's going to space. Did you see that? Yeah. So he's one of the 3 guys that paid $55 million to go to space with SpaceX. So he's crazy, but that's his deal, man. There's never a problem that doesn't have a solution. And I think if you just think outside the box, try to play by the rules, but work around them, you're going to do fine. And just remember, this is a funky year. You're not going to have the attendance, but that's just maybe 15-20% of the juice. It's the squeeze is really where you get the momentum.
No, I think that's a great point for everybody listening in. And I think we've been guilty of it too. The attendance and how it turned out versus, hey, what was the marketing buildup and conversations and content, and then also the follow-up strategy and how you're able to have multiple touches throughout the whole process. So no, that's fantastic. David Fleming's got a question for you, and this is going back to the single agent balling on a budget, and if you can only do 1 or 2 things, what would it be? He's in a community that has 16, almost 1,700 homes surrounding a golf course. And, what would be a couple of items? And then, he had talked about, he just also asked, what does a golf show look like? So if you could kind of maybe give some great strategies for solo agents, low cost, no cost.
Right. Yeah. Well, what's really cool is we've been experimenting with this, because with our agents on our team and our EXP downline, we've really offered, and it's taken me a while, but they're starting to get it. We've really offered, we call it the mini mayor program, which basically just means that they're going in and they're essentially developing their own neighborhoods, and they're feeding off the large events that we're doing, the big events like the St. Patty's Day event, the fireworks and all that. So they're essentially marketing to their neighborhoods on a smaller scale with a lower budget. We call that the mayor candidate. So you got 3 levels. The candidate is the person that, man, you're out there, you're basically campaigning to get top of mind awareness. And how you do that is you're walking the neighborhood, you're physically putting door hangers on the doors. You don't pay the kids to do it. You don't have the Boy Scouts doing it. It's important. You need to be the one there. They need to see you doing it. They need to see you so you're looking at low cost opportunities because you don't have a big budget. You're not making a ton of money from that neighborhood yet. Some ideas that we have done that have worked out really well. Block parties, where people bring their own deal. You just provide the location and you provide the invitation. Maybe you go to your local bank and you say, hey, listen, I'm having a huge block party here in Yankee Trace. Would you provide the meat? And you go to your title company and, hey, would you provide the drinks? I mean, people are more than happy to help you out. You don't have to beat them up. It doesn't have to be super expensive, but lean on your preferred vendors. And it doesn't have to be real estate related. It could be, for example, there's a local restaurant called Archer's, and a lot of people from Yankee go to Archer's. It's a great little tavern, pub, eatery. And they always are they're very supportive of all the things we do in neighborhoods that are close by, because they want to piggyback on our influence.
Yep.
And as you recommend them, it's a low cost advertising for them, and it's giving back. And they understand that. And if you could explain to them how this works, you're never going to have a hard time getting money for these events. So a couple things: be visible, be present, make sure you're there at all the events. A few of the low cost events that you can do. We do a Halloween party, which is very simple. We put a tent out right in front of actually a home right in the center of the neighborhood. And in that tent, we have, hot chocolate, hot cider. We have some adult spirits that, they can mix in. We get some big trays of Chick-fil-A, anything, just little things that can be, donated, that Chick-fil-A donates them. And they want to be part of the community as well. And we have a fire pit. We take pictures. We have a costume costume contest for the kids. Everything you can think of. And of course, it's all logoed up with your name on the tent, and your moving van sitting there, or whatever you got, golf cart, whatever kind of shameless promotion you can have. You want it present.
Yes.
And it doesn't cost much. It's a lot of effort. The biggest expense you're going to have are your postcards, because I always like to do postcards in addition to all the social media that we do. And John, it would be, it's important to say that regardless of what you do, day one, if you're going into a development or to go into hyperlocal marketing, you have to create that audience. And the audience is, in our case, our private Facebook groups. Now, if you could somehow get an audience to your Snapchat or your Instagram or whatever else, that's fine. But what we found to be the most effective are the private Facebook groups. Everybody gets a notification.
A little bit. I think this is important. I know we really broke it down in episode 32. And guys, I can't stress or recommend enough to go back and watch that. So a lot of what Andrew and I are talking through and what Andrew's sharing, he breaks down all of the pieces and the fundamentals inside of that episode. If you can go to EML, Expert Mentor Live, EMLreplay.com. All of the Expert Mentors episodes are there. Episode 32. Watch it and then come back and watch this one again, to how you guys can implement things moving into 21 and beyond. But touch on those Facebook groups a little bit. I think this is really, really key.
Yeah, it's been a game changer for me. It was always something I knew was important, but I didn't realize how important it was. And then when Jason was, he had really committed last year. He said, Andrew, you've been telling me this for 7 years. You're willing to commit to me. It's kind of like you telling me, John, and I didn't implement, right? It's Jason, you got to do this. Well, he finally did it. So he went in and he started his neighborhood mayor program in the neighborhood he lives in, has about 500 rooftops, and he wasn't getting the traction. I was like, hey, listen, how many people do you have on your Facebook group? Well, I've got about 30. Well, 30 is not going to cut it. You have to have a lot of people there, and you have to give them a reason to come back. Well, there was another Facebook group that was very, very popular. It wasn't next door. It was an organic one. I said, man, the only thing you could do is just, you do another one and make sure that your content is better. It doesn't have to be that it's competing, but you have to have content that people are going to want to share. How are we going to do that? Let's get some giveaways. Let's run some contests. He went out with corrugated signs and put corrugated signs all around the neighborhood, knowing that they probably would be picked up by the local zoning. But it was real big, Hunters Ridge neighborhood group. Join today, see the next event, whatever he had. It was really kind of a call to action. He put those all over, and within literally of doing that and having his campaign, within a couple of weeks, he had it up to 150 people. And a lot of it is grassroots. And that's just calling people saying, hey, listen, how things going? It's almost like your classic circle dialing. And before, you always would ask, hey, who's the next person that is going to be moving? I know you don't want to move, but I know you love the area, but who do you think is the next person that's going to leave on the street? And, oh, by the way, did you catch that really cool post on Hunters Ridge neighborhood group? No, what are you talking about? Well, I'll tell you what, let me send you an invite right now. If I send it to you, will you accept it? Yeah, of course. Boom. And then you physically invite them, and if you do that every time you walk out, it's kind of the old, we talked about this before, Bill Clinton, one of the things he was super successful in is his relationships and his networking. And this is prior to, your iPhone or your Palm Pilot.
Yep.
This is back prior to those days. You basically, he had a little notebook. He'd meet somebody, he'd take a moment, write their name down, a little mental jog on how he could remember how to get a hold of the rest of the information later. And then at the end of the day, he would reconcile that. And then that goal that next week would to really get that content and put them into his database. And it's the same way with us, no matter where you are. My son was out shoveling walks we had like 10 inches of snow yesterday, and he was out with his buddy shoveling walks, and he called and he's like, man, can you bring me some gloves? My gloves are all wet. I'm like, sure. So I go down there. Sure enough, the guy comes out and goes, man, I love to see these kids working, whatever. I said, hey, we haven't met yet. What's your name? How you doing? I'm Andrew. By the way, are you on the Yankee Trace neighborhood group? No, I'm not. What? Oh, you're missing out on all the fun. So boom, got his name, number, came back, put it in my CRM, and now he's tagged. He's going to be set up. He's going to get all our content from the future. But if you do it with the intention of building your database, creating the audience, you can't go wrong, because every time you publicize anything in that private group, they're going to get the notification. And usually when you go live, they're going to watch it.
Yeah. That's awesome. That is so cool. Yeah. It's just ingrained, right? I mean, it's just one of those things. Every time you talk to somebody in the community, you just have something of value to be able to offer them inside of the group.
Exactly. And it doesn't cost any money. And that's where, kind of going back to your original, how do you do it for low budget? It's the things that aren't costing you, that take a little bit of effort, but are scalable long-term. A few of the events we can talk about real quick, John, that I felt were really good last year. With COVID, we did a Kona Ice truck where, we brought the Kona Ice truck in a couple times over the summer because all the kids were out, and we basically just announced, hey, we used to do it at the end of the year, but we just did kind of random times. Hey, the Kona Ice is going to be at the park. Bring your kids down. Everybody gets a free Kona Ice. We'll be socially distancing. And of course, we're there. Liz, my gal that helps me with the events coordination, she's got a little clipboard taking names and phone numbers and everything. And the offer is, hey, we're going to be doing some really cool events. You want to be part of it. And so it cost, I think, $250 to basically give everybody in the entire neighborhood that came a Kona Ice. So that's a good deal. We're doing
Levi and Morris, you shared that in Key West. They went back and they implemented, and it was a hit.
Was it?
It was such a hit. So it works. Yeah.
It's crazy because the kids are happy. Everybody's happy. And the thing we're trying out, and we're testing new stuff all the time. We're doing mini hot chocolate shoots. So that's next weekend on a Sunday. And what it was is there's a photographer in the neighborhood that wanted to get her name out. She does senior portraits, family portraits, really good. We've had her do some of our events, and she was willing to do it pretty much for free because she wanted the publicity, and then we give her the credit. Sure. So she's starting to build her business just like we are. Don't be scared to ask people to do that. I mean, you don't have to always come out of pocket. Well, in talking with her, I was like, hey, listen, we could probably do some little mini shoots for families that don't want to go through a big setting, or maybe they want to have a picture of their dog or a picture of their turtle or their kids, or it doesn't matter. We'll give them 10 minutes to take all the pictures that they want to have. I'll pay for it. You give me a discount. You bring the props and the hot chocolate, or the hot chocolate stand. We'll bring the hot chocolate and the events and the heaters, and we'll have it at the local park. And we've got like 50 people signed up. They think it's the coolest thing ever. So we'll probably have some adult beverages and coolers and just kind of hanging out. But little things, it's not going to cost you a lot. You're basically saying, hey guys, I want to be part of your community. I'm going to bring the community together. If you think of real estate, think of me. And it's really that simple.
That is. David had just kind of a follow-up. Kind of what's the mailers and what's your frequency? Is it just one time? Do you send a couple? Like what's kind of the direct mail piece? We try to,
and if I could share my screen here, I think too, we try to basically follow the seasonality and always stay a step ahead of the game. So we sent out a lot in January and February when the market is historically slow, but we want to be top of mind when it does hit, when people come out of the woodwork in mid-February to March. Early on, you're sending the invite. So that's one. Then you're going to do a ton of the online Facebook, live at the event. And then you're going to follow up with another postcard after the event, thanking everybody. Now, each one of these postcards are also going to have a real estate related message on one side and an event on the other side. Within the Facebook or within the postcards, you're not giving them the whole story. You're just giving them the teaser, and you're giving them the URL link to the Facebook community group to get the rest of the story. And that's really where you're driving traffic to that community group to pump it up as much as you can. And so we try to do it as much as we can, depending on the seasonality of it. Come Thanksgiving, Christmas, we're not sending out many postcards. And they're getting inundated with mail. But we're going to try to do one event a month. There's going to be one or two postcards going out in February, March, April, May at least. And then all the other stuff that we do.
Yeah. Keep in mind too, I mean, this was built on Lock and Grand 20 years, right?
Right.
So It's one of those things that you're building this for over time, and anything worth building takes time. And so, I know you also have a little strategy. If anybody tries to take some market share, you then just double down on your direct mail. and all of your marketing efforts to just flush everybody out as well.
Yeah, it's been, again, competitive, and there's always somebody that's coming to bite at your ankles, and, you're going to lose some market share here and there, and you're going to try to gain it, in other ways. But yeah, I mean, that's the beauty of it. You have the throttle, you can, and the cool thing is, so, when you start out and you're the mayor candidate, and the program that we talk about, that's, low cost, not a lot of expense, just a little bit of effort, elbow grease. It's kind of like buying your first flip and you're doing the work yourself. The middle is your first term mayor, and that's somebody that you're making some money. You've got about 5 or 10% market share, or maybe not under 10%. You're starting to get some market share, at least name awareness. And guess what? Once you do that, you can start to really look at larger events. You can look at larger partnership plays with your sponsors. And then when you become the incumbent, that's when you've got, over 15% market share and you're jamming, and people are coming to you, and, you're giving for everything that, anybody that needs anything in the community, whether it be, for charity to help paint the playground equipment, or, I mean, you name it, over the years, help plant. I mean, hell, we stocked the lake one year, with feeder fish, because I may have been a little too aggressive with my wakeboard boat, and the fishermen weren't too excited about it. So we had to go, play nice with them. They love us now because, we help them with whatever their fundraisers are and all that kind of stuff. So, you have to be strategic about it.
And, just a comment here and a question was, it seems like a lot of time and effort to support the group. Is there any automation and kind of what's the content? What are the posts?
Well, that's the beauty of it. If you want to have a physique like Woods Davis, you don't get up one day and say, hey, I'm going to start lifting weights. Yep. What in life doesn't take some time and effort to get the results you want if you're going to be a champ, or you're going to be the King Kong in the area. So just like anything, there's nothing in life that you can't do that. And I know that wasn't the intention of the question. It's the question, okay, how do you automate it? How do you do it once you get there? So we know the work has to be done. I think for us, what we do is I have a marketing gal that helps me. We John Kitchen's 101. We have, strategic plan meetings. By the end of the year, we plan out every month. We have a spreadsheet. In that spreadsheet, it basically has a link to all the events that we do. So everything is dialed in. And once you do it once, you take really good notes, you take good exit strategy notes, you tweak it, and you're ready for the next year. And it kind of runs on autopilot. If you do a good job of it and you have support that you can have somebody make your phone calls, set up the logistics of it, do the marketing pieces, man, all you got to do is show up and, again, be social and try to create a relationship with people. Yeah. It is a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
It's not something
a lot of it on your own, man, for a long time, until you got to the point to where you pulled the trigger and you've got somebody that handles it all, to now where you just show up.
Exactly. Yeah. To your point, I remember you begging me, man, you got to get somebody to help you with that. And it was, for us, it was always last minute. And I think this is the biggest challenge. And I would highly, highly recommend, this is really kind of a pro tip here. It doesn't matter if you have a bad event or an event that doesn't go off the way you want. At least you had one, and that's 10 times better than the competition. It's just like doing a video. It might not look the way you want to look in your video, but you know what? You did it, and it's good.
Yeah.
That's one thing we've not had a problem doing, is doing an event where we don't know how it's going to turn out. We know we're going to have fun one way or the other. And some of them have been great. And then others were like, man, we could do better. Every year you do it, it just keeps getting better and better and better. And that's, I think, the biggest step is just do something. It doesn't matter if it's perfect, but just do something.
I'm with you. And, David, the best thing, and all of you guys listening in, is make sure you're a part of Andrew's, it's neighborhood mayor Facebook group.
Yeah. Yes. Yep.
That's the group you guys want to get in, with Andrew and everything that he's doing in that group, breaking down, the different levels and all the stuff, that they're doing from a neighborhood mayor perspective. You mentioned the Kona truck as a really good event during COVID. Was there any other events or anything else that you guys did that went off really well?
I think we did the Easter Bunny, which was really a big hit. Dawn, my wife Dawn, and John knows her. She's always game, and she's got to put up with all my crazy stuff. So we basically bought a Easter bunny suit. And this was at the height of it. Like, people were scared to death about COVID at the time, and people are still, but we didn't know what we didn't know at the time. So we basically suited her up in an Easter bunny suit, and we made a big promotion all over Facebook, put it on, since the postcards out. And we basically walked the neighborhood right down the middle. The twins, they had some kind of Easter, like, funny outfit. I think they had some pajamas or something, and they put those on, and they just kind of walked down the middle, and people would come out, and we kind of put a little trail as to when we were going to start, where we're going to end up, almost like a marathon, game plan. Yeah. And man, it was awesome. We had little kids coming out, and the moms, and, in tears, and just, hey, there's the Easter bunny. And so that was really, really cool to see that. We then jumped on the golf cart and went over to the other side of the neighborhood, and for the older folks, and kind of did a drive-by. And so that was pretty cool. That was something that was a little improv that we did. Usually we'd have, come see the Easter bunny. We're going to have an Easter egg hunt. And then, we'd have all the kids, and that Easter egg hunt is a lot of work. The cool thing about the Easter egg hunt is that usually there's some church or some organization that wants to do an Easter egg hunt. So you let them do the heavy lifting. You just stroke them a check, and you get your preferred vendors to pay the amount for the check. And then you're there, buying some prizes or whatever you do. And that, so those are, you learn what events are a heavy lift, and ones that are not so heavy that you can piggyback on and allow other people that don't know how to promote like you do. Remember, you guys are marketing people. That's why you're in real estate. It's not the best agent. Kinder always says it's not the best agent that makes the most amount of money or that has the most success in real estate. It's the one that has the most customers.
Yep.
You have the most customers because you know how to market. People want to do events, but they don't know how to market. And if you could tie in with those people, man, the sky's the limit. And it does take a little bit of work, but you guys can do it for all different budgets.
It is. And I love the low cost, no cost sweat. I love the candidate, and you work your way up through the process over time. And it's not all of your business. Like Andrew said, it's just a third. And we, for us, we didn't go this in depth with it. We focused more kind of past client, which is Sphere, but which was raving fan, but we had things that people could come and get. And that was a third of that was a pillar, right? And we like a third. And I think if you can establish that in your business, understand your business is not on, it's the whole Jay Abraham, right? The diving board, mentality, to where all of your business is on one pillar. You've got a couple strong pillars that's really helping your business continue to thrive and grow.
Well, what's great about a program like this is that it's definitely an attract, not chase mentality. Yeah, you put the work in, but it's kind of like a farmer. They plant the seeds, and they reap the benefits when it's harvest time. You're basically planting all year long, and then you get those come list me calls. And when you go there, it's a lot easier. There's not as much pressure on commission because they see the value. They trust you because you've been helping the community. You're really hyper local, so they've got people that they know that have done business with you. So your reputation is one that, hey, this guy is what he says he is, or what she says she is. So it's a good, easier part of the business. It's a little bit more upfront, heavy lift, but once you acquire that customer, it's a great thing. And then what happens is, once you do business with them, now they fall into the funnel of your past clients. And this is something else. I know we got a few minutes left here, John, but what's really cool about it is you're basically just creating that database and that throwing more people in the funnel that for us, the 3 big events that we do every year are not related specific to the neighborhoods. Those are our big customer appreciation events. But you bet, when we do our neighborhood events and we invite people to those events, the people in the neighborhood think they're being invited because it's a neighborhood event. And the reality of it is we're basically leveraging all those events, and depending on the relationship we have with them will be the offer that we give them. If it's somebody that, for example, our big St. Patrick's Day event, where again, I'll talk about it real quick, John, but it's a huge, the guy's got a tent that holds 1,000 people outside of his pub downtown Dayton, and he has a great St. Patrick's Day event. We were able to negotiate a 20 by 40 side event, or side tent, that kind of adds on to the big tent, which is our VIP area. Well, everybody in the in the communities that we work in are going to get, hey, we're going to be down at the Dublin pub. If you stop by, say hi. We'd love to see you. It's going to be a great event. If anybody needs anything, let us know. Just letting them know we're there. We're just hanging out. Come see us. The people that are VIPs, and we have 3 levels of VIP, the bronze, the silver, gold. Bronze, somebody we've done business with in the last 4 or 5 years. Silver, somebody that's referred us, and then gold, somebody that's a raving fan. Each one of those will get a different offer. And, one, if it's a VIP gold, hey, we're paying their way in. We're giving them free drinks. Last year we had a hot tub, a temporary hot tub ready to go. I mean, we never got a chance to do it because they canceled the event. The kids ended up using it in the backyard. So we'll see how that, I don't know if it still works. I mean, crazy stuff, right? So over the top, just look at it to build your database and understand that, you don't have to always think about it being your big event. You can piggyback on somebody else's event like I did with the Dublin Pub.
That's great. That's, you're not doing all the heavy lifting, right?
Right.
You're just piggybacking on it again. That is fantastic. Absolute gold. Yeah. Any kind of final thoughts that we want to, everybody to kind of be thinking about this moving in, either they're established or, like David was sharing, new, looking to get in and start something up. What would you kind of recommend to everybody?
Yeah, I think that really you have to kind of roll your sleeves up and you got to bootstrap it. And it's not easy to build that database, but you have to build the database. You have to put yourself in those positions, make some sacrifices to do that. Once you do that, then you can start getting very clever and next generation. And then next generation, I mean, when we build our websites for the community, first of all, we always try to negotiate the domain name. So one of the first things you can do is to, make sure you get the domain name, or you create whatever community you want to call it. For example, your area might not have a designated a term that everybody says, hey, that's the market district. It might just be a grid of, a neighborhood, right? But it doesn't have a name to it. Well, you need to start promoting it that it's the market district, or it's the, Austin Landing area, or whatever around it. You can make your market. It's like Donald Trump in New York. I mean, he made the market where he was going when he first started out. And I think you could do that. Once you do that, then you buy the domain name, and then you build the website. And when you build the website, you create it to make it look like it's the official website. Once that happens, that's going to help you build your database, because people are constantly emailing me, hey, Andrew, or they don't even know it's me, but hey, I got a fence that needs to be expanded, and, they think I'm the HOA. Okay, that's cool. So I take their phone number, take their email address, thank them, tell them, hey, listen, I'm not officially affiliated with the HOA, but I am the specialist that sells real estate in the area, and I'm happy to help you out. Now, what can I help you with? And then you follow through and you make sure you put them in touch with who it is. And then you follow up, make sure that it was taken care of. All that stuff needs to be automated in your system. But by doing that, those deposits you make with somebody and they're struggling to find how to do, especially an older person, to get a fence deal, they're going to think you as like the man or the gal or whoever, they're going to put you on a pedestal when you help somebody when you're not asking for them for anything.
Go-to authority for anything real estate related, right?
Yep.
You're building that referral wheel of network of go-to, and you want to be positioned as that go-to for anything that real estate related. We want them to be thinking about us. That's awesome.
Yep. Oh, hey, John, one more thing to mention. Yeah. Backpacks. So, we talked about the cooler before. The coolers are incredible. If anybody's doing kind of a social deal, make sure you think about doing the cooler giveaway or backpack giveaway. It used to be a soft-sided cooler that just had a strap, and it was really easy. I know it sounds crazy, like why would anybody want a soft-sided cooler? I think they're more popular now, but we started giving them out with people that buy lake homes, and we had it branded and had our social media on there and all that kind of stuff. Well, we've evolved to like 3.0 now, which are backpack coolers, which are great. But what's neat about that is when you start putting those out in a community, you go to a gathering and there'll be 16 backpack coolers where people have markers that they wrote their name on the top so somebody doesn't grab the wrong cooler. But it's pretty dominating when they're like, man, I wonder who sells real estate around here. That guy's got it covered, right? So it's, again, for $18, you give them a gift at whether they're living in $1.5 million house or a new fixer-upper. Everybody loves a cooler. And
Right.
it's something that little things like, and if you guys, you can Facebook message me or jump on Neighborhood Mayor and Mayors plural, a Facebook group, and message me, and I can give you where we can get those. You can get them bought, and you could just use exactly what I have, and Marilyn will take care of you.
I missed the opportunity. I had your soft cooler with in the tent at the event this week, and I everything else going on, I didn't snap that picture, but it was there and had some Modelo's hanging out, nice and chilled.
I bet it did.
Good, man.
Some muscle milk and some Modelo's.
And some water.
Yeah, I bet.
For sure. Well, brother, I appreciate you, man. Just gold as always. And man, you guys make sure you jump into the Neighborhood Mayors Facebook group and continue to pay attention to what Andrew and their team is doing as it comes to, really amplifying those niches, not only for themselves, but he's, doing it with all of his team members as well. So fascinating stuff. Also go back and check out episode 32 to get more of the details of kind of what we were discussing today, and really appreciate you guys jumping in. Brother, thank you so much.
Got it, Johnny.
Absolute gold.
Yeah, no, we're looking forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks. And if there's anything I can do to help out, or if anybody needs anything, just PM me, email me, whatever. We'll help you out.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Okay. And we'll see you guys on the next episode. See you.
All right. See you.